Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. What a week it's been. There's been a lack of videos because I had a lack of electricity. We had a northeaster, they call them. That's when the weather pattern comes up the East Coast, sometimes joined by Midwestern weather. And I guess it would go this way if you're following along on your map. Combined with the correct temperature aloft. Here on the ground, I never saw the temperature get below 34 degrees. However, that created wet, heavy snow Wednesday night. And by Thursday morning, I was on generator, where I remained until yesterday afternoon. I'm surprised I got it back yesterday. A lot of people still haven't. Also surprised that shortly after that, I got internet service because my cable, which provides the internet, was rolled up in several balls in the ditch where it got ripped off, and then people drove over it for a couple days. Once the road was open, the road was closed for 2.5 days. So I never saw, the town usually plows the road, I never saw a town truck the entire storm. They hired line crews and tree crews from all over the country. Thanks to them. They're still working today, but we're seeing less and less of them as they get the power back on. So my creative juices were overflowing. I couldn't wait to get out here in the shop. I actually worked a couple days. I had enough light when it stopped snowing and raining long enough to come through the window, where I goofed around with some stuff that I'll show you. But today, I decided I was going to make the pulleys that I have for the blower setup, make adapters to make them work. I actually end up getting another lower pulley that I was able to machine this register on the back, smaller. This one would work also. So it now fits the ATI balancer, and this pulley has the correct diameter here to register the pulley because they're different top and bottom. With this setup of junk, I will not be able to swap the upper and lower. I don't know if you normally can, but I will not be able to. Another interesting discovery that kind of blew my mind, and through a channel of friends, I figured out why, apparently, that the 6-bolt pattern that holds on the upper and lower pulley, when you go to put it on a pulley that the holes are registered even, the pattern is even, like a wheel pattern. This is a 6-lug pattern. You think it'd be the same, a 6-stud or bolt pattern. One of them's different. One of them is a half a hole off. I started noticing after I was riding with my friend Charlie in his truck, and he took that information in. He asked another friend of his, John Sandell from Tube Chassis Design, Hanson, Massachusetts. Smart guy who knows stuff, and he knew the reason why that one hole is different. Apparently on a Chrysler, probably a 426 Hemi balancer, that one hole is off on purpose. Then I got noticing a lot of pulleys, that hole is ovaled out, which is what I was planning on doing anyway. There's nothing wrong with the pulley. I just need to make that one hole oval so it fits a standard pattern. So that's silly. And both of my upper and lower pulleys are the same way. Today I'm machining a spacer so my pulleys will line up. I hear a noise in the background. Sounds like a chainsaw, which is a pretty common sound lately. So hopefully by the end of the day, I will have my pulleys lined up. This I can shim a little bit in and out if I have to. The reason I wanted to mock this up is this particular belt is brand new. I mean, it's old, but never been used. It's Goodyear. It has a part number on it. And usually a blower belt's a couple $100 anyway. I found a bunch of them for $30 or $40. So I wanted to buy a couple spares, but I don't want to buy something I can't use. I know. Also in my collection of junk, I mentioned this is 1/2 inch pulley, the spacing takes a 1/2 inch cogged belt. I also have some 8mm blower pulleys that I bought in a bunch of race car stuff, and they're actually fairly new. I'm going to take them down just to figure out what the ratio would be. I would need a different belt, but someday that might be an option. I don't know the idea of the holes and all that stuff. This is all the things you learn, or I do. This is how I typically, when I get involved in something and it doesn't fit, I do a little research as to why. And like my registers, top and bottom, are different. Probably it's supposed to be the same, but in my setup, that's not going to be. This is going to be, I believe I calculated 7.9% overdriven. My top pulley's smaller. So that's going to be pretty sporty, probably 8 to 10 pounds of boost. I don't know, it depends on how how much research you do. There's other factors involved. But while we're sitting here staring at these, I find it interesting. That scoop is huge, just the actual air intake portion. This is a 102mm throttle body. This engine will make at least easily twice the power this one will in its configuration, and this one can outrun it all day long. It's definitely not as visually impressive to some, but I just found it interesting when I was standing back looking through the camera thinking, that's quite a comparison. Clearly this is overkill, but it looks cool. This is the dry sump pump I'm going to use on the 440 LS project. I bought it on eBay. Got a decent deal on it. I didn't notice until I had it a week or so that the pressure section, the adjuster, which is right there, is crooked. It's been hit. And the aluminum the hole is ovaled out for the threaded hole. It's unusable. It's not an area where you'd want to leak or have a failure. If that spits out of there, it's going to pump high pressure oil everywhere. So the phone number for Aviad, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Aviad, A-V-I-A-I-D. I forget how they answered the phone, so I called them right up. They're in California, so you got to calculate 3 hours behind us. So it was easy to buy a new pressure section and a couple of rebuild kits because I have 2 of them. I've peeked in the ports. I've seen the gears. It's nothing but a bunch of oil pumps stuck together. If you ever had a Chevrolet oil pump together, it's got gears just like that. Shouldn't be that hard. We'll see. So that's on the list of things to do sooner than later so I can find a way to mount it. I bought a whole bunch of belts that were wicked cheap. I'm hoping I can make this work. Every time I think I find a good spot for it, it won't fit the chassis. But I haven't given up yet. I'll figure it out eventually. And then there's this bench. Fortunately, I have 40 acres of benches to clutter up, but I had Holley carburetor pots everywhere. I took this Dominator carburetor pot that I bought. When I bought it, between when I bought it and when I got it, I think a few things were taken off it. That's okay, and I didn't notice at some point the bowl itself got damaged. One of the bowls is squished right there, so that's junk. The threads were messed up anyway. I bought a couple taps. It's I believe it's 3/8 32 pitch, which is pretty rare, but I found 3 taps that are made in Austria or somewhere that, not China anyway, for like $9 shipped. So of all the Holley carburetors I've ever fixed, I've never had to tap out the threaded holes, but if I do, now I have a lifetime supply of taps for that. So when I find enough parts to put the Dominator carburetor back together, and I got another one to do, again, sooner than later, I need to put all this stuff in a tote or someplace safe. I often bemoan the fact that I had a lot of Holley pots, and in a rare moment I thought I needed to free up space. I gave all that stuff away and threw away a lot of it. So I'll never forgive myself. Last Sunday, I logged on to Facebook And a local legend here in Maine, a local drag racing legend who has run the same car for over 50 years. I'll talk about him and the car and this transmission when I put a video together of me assembling it, but it is a 4-speed Lenco for the Race 55 Chevy. Again, I woke up Sunday morning. He'd posted that he'd got a new 5-speed. I think I knew that anyway, but it finally hit me. Hey, what's he doing with the 4-speed he's had for a long time? Lenco, the company, Lenco Racing Transmission. If you ask about the ST1200, this is a street version. They'll tell you a testament to its strength is Steve Kluke, the guy I got it from. They mentioned him by name. He is the unofficial product tester. His car at 3,300 pounds with a small block Chrysler runs, he's been the best 840 with it. So, and it's always been a manual transmission car. And when he's not killing ring and pinions in the Dana 60, he's had this transmission for, again, 14 years. Thousands of runs. Now, why would you buy a transmission with thousands of runs on it? Because he takes it apart every year, and he will replace anything he needs to be replaced, which really hasn't been a whole lot. He's put clutches in it once, but he gave me the old ones. They still mic like new. He has hurt a sprag, but he hasn't hurt one lately, but has all new sprags. He just took it apart this winter to put some fresh parts in it, and that's when he ended up buying the other transmission. And here it is. So I'm going to put it back together, and I've already mocked it up in the Race 55. I think I could even make that carbon drive shaft work potentially. That's pretty exciting. And yeah, unexpected. A week ago, it was not on the radar. I mean, I build Turbo 400s, racing transmissions for half the world, it seems. Why wouldn't I run one in my car? And I'm still going to have a whole Turbo 400 setup. I've built 2 of them, complete with converters and everything, for the Race 55. I'll probably sell one and keep the other one. The street version of the Lenco is casually rated at 1,200. I think it's horsepower, not foot-pounds of torque, but you know, again, I've always said this about breakage. It's, you know, traction, weight, and torque or horsepower. So when those 3 combine, that's how you break stuff. How this transmission holds up, again, I'm going to repeat myself in the video, so look for that, but this thing looks like you took it out of the box. He's been running it for 12 to 14 years. I don't know exactly how long, and it absolutely looks brand new. So, and this isn't the good one. I ran a CS2 transmission in my orange Camaro, and that is a racing version. They make a CS1, 2, 3, I think they make a 4 and a 5 now, but and then they built the street one. And the street one obviously is very, very strong. So more on that. I'll do an assembly video because I'm looking for an assembly video myself, and I don't see a lot out there, so I will figure out how to put it back together. When I ran my CS2, I never had it apart. It was just like new when I got it, and it left pretty much the same way. So, anyway, upcoming. I have about 50 thousandths left to cut off the counter bore for this upper pulley adapter I'm making for the 671 blower. I can see they make them online. I didn't find one with the right width for what I need, or at least what I think I need. And I know when I got it, it wouldn't fit anyway, so I'm going to make my own. Found a nice piece of scrap, and off to the races we go. So hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Hope you're warm and safe, and I'll catch you in a couple days.